Many of them wanted to be here today. They can't because they're on the front lines down in Los Angeles. And I think with that, we're going to have pictures with them, whoever was able to attend over at the fire engine. I also want to recognize the work of the LA County Sheriffs. They're doing one hell of a job, not only for us, the community, but some of them are on duty. So, Lieutenant Anthony Gunn is here representing the captain, and I don't know if Lieutenant Ron Schaefer is here or not, but all of his deputies deserve a second round of appreciation for the job that they do. This may be perfect timing. I want to have all of the veterans. I won't be able to separate the ones in chairs, but if you're a veteran, I want to recognize you and say Happy Veterans Day tomorrow in advance. You deserve it. You're our brothers. Yes, there he is. I see him on the horizon, coming in from the northwest. Coming in at my 10 o'clock. They do a great job, and after they finish the flyover, I'm sure they're heading down to the towers. But wave to them. Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps, Sergeant Major Willie Tom Ward. His personal decorations include the Legion of Merit, Meritorious Service Medal, Navy Marine Corps Commendation Medal, Leader of the 3rd Award, Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medal. Please welcome Sergeant Major Ward.
All right, please have a seat. Thank you. Let me start by saying happy birthday, Marines. Simple for Dallas. Devil dog, shock, true blood, sucking war machine, ready to fight, ready to kill, ready to die, but never kill. You like that? That's how we roll in the Marine Corps. And I will tell you that some of the chants like that I learned from people who I idolized. One of the people that I idolized was Lee Ermey. And I'll tell you a quick story because they told me I only had about 5 minutes. But believe me when I tell you, I can talk for the next 15, 20, 30 minutes if I needed to. Because I'm so passionate about what this man did for all of the people that he interacted with. So when I think of Lee Ermey, I think of legacy. I didn't really know what legacy meant early on in the Marine Corps. Even as a staff NCO, I picked it up. I kept hearing some of the senior officers and senior enlisted leadership talk about legacy. And I can tell you, Lee Ermey's legacy is sealed. I am the Naval Science Instructor at Antelope Valley High School, NJROTC. If you go there right now and go into our building, you will see a mural of Lee Ermey on our wall that was there way before I got there. So what am I telling you? I'm telling you that this man has impacted so many of us to where you have to state the facts. The facts are he was blessed. Some of us are blessed with the ability to inspire, and he inspires me. I'll give you a quick story. I was asked to be a speaker alongside Lee Ermey when I was the recruiting station Los Angeles Sergeant Major. They called me up and they told me, hey, would you like to be the guest speaker alongside Lee Ermey? And I said, Gunny Ermey? Are you talking about Full Metal Jacket? Are you serious? So, you know, my blood pressure started going up. I got a little bit of an anxiety, and I realized that I had to come up with a speech. And I'll tell you, I was absolutely starstruck. So at the time, my ex-wife, who's a great friend of mine now, we went there, and as soon as I interacted with Lee Ermey, you know, I was starstruck. I couldn't even talk. I couldn't even think of what I was going to say during my speech. But my ex-wife, she's just chatting it up with him and having a good old time. And I'm still sitting there with my mouth open, looking at him, and I'm thinking, wow. I'm actually sitting next to my wife, who's sitting next to Lee Ermey, and she's over there talking to him. I was so starstruck, and he looked at me, and he could tell that I was starstruck. He was like, "How you doing, Sergeant Major?" And I said, I'm good. So I got up to speak, and the only thing I could think of, I had this long, drawn-out speech that I was going to do, and I literally had most of it memorized. But for whatever reason, I had to switch it up. And what I switched it up to was stolen valor. How many civilians out there with good paying jobs, with a family, with their own line of legacy, how many of them would risk all of that to put on the uniform of a United States Marine or one of our other service members? And you go on YouTube right now, you'll see hundreds of individuals out there who are imposters. Why? Because our reputation precedes us. They want a piece of that simple fidelity. They want a piece of that energy. They want a piece of what it's like to be a real active duty Marine or active duty serviceman. And I can tell you from the bottom of my heart, I appreciated Lee Ermey allowing me to go before him, because I was able to speak before him. But when it was all said and done, I spoke, he spoke. Afterwards, I was still starstruck, and he came over to me afterwards, and he handed me this coin. This is one of my favorite coins of all time. It is his face on it, his rank, the Marine Corps Eagle Globe and Anchor, and it says Lee Ermey, United States Marine Corps. He handed that to me, and you couldn't have handed me $1 million. I wouldn't have traded it for $1 million, because this had so much value in it, because it came from legacy. And people don't realize it, but when you interact with the legacy, it inspires you, it motivates you. It inspires you and motivates you to live up to the best you that you can be. Since then, I serve. I serve in the civilian sector at the Antelope Valley High School NJROTC program on Thursdays and Saturdays, and with the VITA program, Vital Intervention and Directional Alternatives for at-risk youth. It is my obligation, it is my responsibility as a servant of this great nation to do these things. And by my example, I try to inspire others like Lee Ermey inspired me. And I will tell you, to the Ermey family, you are absolutely blessed. Thank you for allowing me to say a few words. I appreciate you. God bless you. I love you all.
Thank you so much. Our next speaker is representing a young Marine who had a relationship. Lee Ermey was truly supportive of all the Marines, young Marines, old Marines, even like old Marines and old uniform. But Mr. Chinchilla is retired from the aerospace industry, where he has held many different positions in production, manufacturing, engineering, and is currently working with the LA County's Department of Health Services. Please welcome Unit Commander David Chinchilla.
Good morning, everyone. I'll be really short. I love the story. Thanks. Honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, the Young Marine program is predicated on strengthening the lives of America's youth by teaching them the importance of self-confidence, academic achievement, honoring our veterans, becoming good citizens, and living a drug-free life. Lee Ermey once pointed out that it is our job to make sure that young people evolve into proper, hard-charging persons. We are grateful that he was our spokesman and a strong supporter of the Young Marines. In speaking with many of the program volunteers, what is most said is that they had a lot of fun when he was around. Today, if you look around and before you over here, you have young Marines from Quartz Hill, which represent the Northern California Regiment. From the 1st California Regiment, We have Lance Corporal Kenneth L. Worley Unit, which is out of Norwalk. The Santa Clarita Valley Young Marines are here, as us, your Antelope Valley Young Marines. Also attending today, I love the dedication, right? Oh, yeah, exactly. Also attending today is our 60th Division Commander, Ms. Lee Dick. So thank you guys. They came a long way. They are very proud of our Lee. So together, we are here as part of the Young Marine family to show our gratitude for the decades of service and support the Gunny provided to the program. On behalf of the Young Marine, I have Master Sergeant Daniels, would you please? Awesome. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
We received a letter which is very special to us. A man from the Commandant. We received a letter from the Commandant who actually promoted Staff Sergeant Ermey to Gunnery Sergeant. Dean comes to the rescue. He's the one that created the GoFundMe page, and I will talk about that in just a couple of minutes, but he's responsible for that and how we're raising the money, not only for the signs, but for the musical road plays. Thank you for the gracious invitation for me to participate in today's event. While I unfortunately cannot be with you today, I wanted to take the opportunity to highlight the significance of your efforts. As Marines around the globe come together on this 10 November day to celebrate the Corps' 243rd birthday, I am pleased to know that this special Marine Corps Day will be marked by another notable occasion, the rededication of Avenue N in the city of Palmdale to R. Lee Ermey Avenue. As all who have worn the uniform of the United States Marine know that our Corps legacy has been forged in epic and historic battles in the defense of freedom everywhere. Whether in uniform or not, active duty, reserve, or retired, it is instinctive for Marines to find ways to be relevant, to be committed to making a difference whenever and wherever they can. It is our nature, it is our duty, and it is our honor. From the fierce fighting of our active and reserve Marines in Afghanistan to the selfless advocacy of veteran service organizations, often led by those in their retired ranks, to the hundreds of morale visits by veteran celebrities and entertainers to perilous, war-torn regions around the globe. Our warrior ethos and our devotion to our fellow Marines continue to shine brightly, regardless of the uniform Marines don each day. Our former Commander-in-Chief, President Ronald Reagan, once said, "Some people spend an entire lifetime wondering if they make a difference in the world. Marines don't have that problem." To Gunnery Sergeant Ermey's wife, Nyla, and his family, and the citizens of Palmdale gathered here today, Gunnery Sergeant R. Lee Ermey made a difference. He molded and mentored thousands of Marines for past generations, and through his enduring legacy, he will continue to shape Marines for generations to come. Our friend entertained millions of people on the big screen, showcasing the breadth of his acting brilliance in more than 60 films. From his epic portrayal of the extra salty drill instructor in Full Metal Jacket to his voiceover roles in animated children's movies like Toy Story, SpongeBob, he made a difference. Of the many deserved honors he received, there is no doubt he would be incredibly humbled by this distinction, one typically reserved for only the most distinguished and most respected of American citizens. I offer my sincere gratitude to the city of Palmdale for honoring a great man and a great Marine. Once a Marine, always a Marine. No one embodied this principle more than Gunny Sergeant Ermey. I look forward Gunny probably didn't want any more recognition, forward to the day when I find myself driving down Benny's Avenue. Happy 243rd birthday, Marine. Birthday to all Marines, and happy birthday to you, Gunnery Sergeant Lee Ermey. Semper Fidelis, James L. Jones, General, U.S. Marine Corps retired, 32nd Commandant. We tried to convince him to change his plans. He'd already committed to Texas, but it was wonderful that he wrote that letter. So it was heartfelt on this one. Now, we have special guests. Some of you know from this community, and some of you should know. We have Brigadier General David Smith. He is the Installation Support Director for Edwards Air Force Base. He's retired from the Air Force, but most recent duties as an Inspector General for Edwards Air Force Base and an experimental test flight radar navigator attached to the 419th Flight Test Squad. Flight Test Squad. Please welcome Brigadier General David Smith.
So it is awesome to be out here with you all today. So it's really not about me, it's about who I get to represent. So on behalf of the National Guard of California, the Army and Air Components, the State Military Reserves, and our youth programs, 23,000 members strong, and the Adjutant General of the State of California, and on behalf of General Tykert, the Commander of Edwards Air Force Base, we send our absolute best to this awesome event, the street review. So we've heard a lot about the gunny. But what I thought I'd do, since we've heard a lot about the gunny, is talk a little about our Marines and about our joint services. And I understand you wanted me to finish this up in under 45 minutes. So I'm on track to do that. Keep that moving. So one of the things first I'm upset about being an airman. Now I'm delighted to be an airman, but one of the things that upsets me is when God passed out the uniforms, they won. I mean, that's the way it is. I love putting this thing on. Just don't take pictures of us together. It's awesome. Hey, but you know, we are a pretty selfless service, our United States Air Force. As the Marines celebrate their birthday, fairly recently we celebrated our 71st. So I want you to keep in mind, 71 years ago, the United States Air Force, in its generosity, allowed our sister service, the United States Army, to be its very own branch of the military. Pretty special. What I really wanted to do is tell you a story about another gunny, but I believe that this story, although completely true and happened to me, exemplifies that spirit, that Semper Fidelis of our Marines. But it was an awkward story in my life, so take yourself back in time to the early 80s. I am a second lieutenant. I've just finished basic flight training. I'm back home in Hawaii. I've got a date with me. I'm at a little place called the Creekside Bar in the big city of Kailua, right outside Kaneohe Marine Corps Air Station. This particular establishment is pretty much occupied by college sophomores and young Marines. I'm not certain if both of those are actually human. But you know, when we talk about our sister services, an interesting moment happened. I went in, the only clothes I had for some strange reason that fit were my uniforms. So I'm in uniform, second lieutenant. I'm sitting at the bar, and there's a group of Marines under the mentorship of a gunny, not this gunny, but a gunny. And the stage whispers keep getting louder and louder about this shaved tail in a drinking man's bar. And what am I doing there? So I thought the only prudent thing to do was just to gracefully pay my check and leave, because I could see nothing good coming out of this. So as I'm in the process of pulling my wallet out, the hand comes on my shoulder, and I look, and it's the gunny. And this guy was carved out of stone. And I'm just thinking, I've been a second lieutenant for a year and a half. I'm about to lose my career. And he says, "Hey, Lieutenant, United States Marine Corps, what are you doing in a drinking man's bar? And these Marines at the table are just laughing. They're falling out of their seats. And I said, basically, Gunny, nothing. Actually, I'm paying my check and leaving. You know, if you look carefully, you will see me going out that door. And he says, oh, the lieutenant wears wings. And these Marines are still laughing, just hysterically. And I said, yes, Gunny, I do. And yeah, just keep the change. We're good. I'm leaving now. And he says, so, Lieutenant, United States Air Force, wearing wings, what do you fly? And I said, to be honest, Gunny, I don't fly anything. I just finished basic flight school. I'm going to go back after leave, and I'll be going to B-52 training. The Gunny came to attention, spun on his heels, pointed to the Marines, and said, you Marines will shut up and treat this man with respect. There's an officer in this establishment. He looked back at me and he said, sir, your money's not good in this bar. It'd be a great honor if you'd have a drink with my men tonight. Now, I don't know what a B-52 did for that Gunny, but I'm going to guess it was pretty darn good. So what comes to mind? Caisson, things like that. So here's the crux of that story, and here's the crux that Gunny Lee Ermey also brought forward as a great Marine, and portraying that picture of that great Marine. You know, our sister services are a bit like brothers in a bickering family. We'll joke with each other, we'll argue with each other, we'll fight over budgets. But you take a swing at one of us, and you've unleashed hell. Because all of us are going to unite, as those brothers would, and put an end to this argument. We stand united as the Gunny stood united with all of us because it's the right thing to do to break the universe. We have a picture today of a great America. We can only hope to emulate that ideal as we move forward. So in a very small way of saying thank you on behalf of the California Military Department and our 23,000 soldiers, airmen, and maritime components, I'd like to pass my command coin to you if you would be so honored as to receive it. It's been an honor.
Thank you, General. This is why we have Veterans Day. We may tease each service, we're better than they are, but when it comes down to it, Vietnam was all together. We fought together, Air Force. That B-52 he was talking about, yeah, that did a lot of damage in the north in Quezon. But as the last, as we begin to close the ceremony, I want to bring up Benny's daughter, Lee Ermey, to say a couple of words, and then we have a few proclamations and certificates to award. So Betty, come up and address your family.
To everybody who supported this cause. It means a lot to our family, and we are truly honored. And thank you for everybody making sure. And gosh, the city of Palmdale has been great. Been meeting up for the past few months and just getting all of this planned out. We've had so much support. Some people that weren't able to be here, JJ, he's visiting his daughter in Pennsylvania, I believe. Boston, and sent a picture of a beautiful field of snow today. But I just wanted to thank people that were here. Mayor Jim Ledford had such a huge part of this as well. And I just want to thank her too, because I think it's our time. He really did help us get this off the ground. He believed in this. And I look out into the crowd and I see familiar faces, friends that I've made. The young Marines, I just worked with them a few weekends ago. Hey. But I just want to say thank you. It is truly an honor.
Thank you. At this time, we have a couple of proclamations. County of Los Angeles representing Supervisor Gallagher. Chuck Bossman is representing her and has a proclamation to give to Ermey family. Okay? We'll stay up there.
So it certainly is an honor representing Supervisor Catherine Barger here. I'd say that Lee Ermey was an icon of the Antelope Valley, just like the Space Shuttle Columbia or the Space Shuttle Challenger were. They've got their own streets, so now he will have his own street that will be a tribute throughout time to him. So in honor of this occasion, I have a certificate from the supervisor to the city.
Representing the city of Palmdale, Mayor-elect Steve Barber.
Thanks, Rick. I asked the other council members to come up here because this isn't from any individual, it's from the organization. I have Mayor Pro Tem Juan Carrillo, Councilmember Austin Bishop, and Councilmember Laura Bettencourt here to join us. And I'd like to present this nice little certificate here. So I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it basically probably says the same thing Chuck's does and everybody else does. But you know, this is really about a good guy, a guy that made a difference in the community, made a difference in the nation, and I think that it's going to be really cool when we get that musical highway out here and everybody gets to go down Gunny Highway, huh? What do you think, huh? So on behalf of the mayor and the entire city council and the entire city of Palmdale, I'd like to present you with this proclamation. You don't have a fancy frame, you have to get that over to Michael's, but get it to Palmdale. So there you go. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And we couldn't be more grateful to the city of Palmdale that unanimously agreed to change this name of its streets. This street runs for 7 miles. It goes through the city of Palmdale. Actually goes through the city of Lancaster for about a half a mile or more. And then it goes through the county. So all the government agencies agreed to allow us to do that. And I think that is in the spirit of cooperation. We are now at the point where we're going to dedicate the street, but at the same time, we're just beginning the journey, and many of you can help us. Today, we have an official road name change and several of the signs, but there's much more to be done. We have been working, not only do we need more street signs, we also need highway signs, Caltrans highway signs, memorial plaques, and other roadside signs. A special feature is that we also hope to deliver a musical road along the Lee Ermey Avenue. It's going to play the first verse of the Marine Corps hymn. The estimated cost for all of this is almost $150,000. Currently, we've raised about 10% of that. This is why Gunny's family and the community have come together to make sure that this memorial happens. We need your help to finish this street legacy. The county doesn't have additional funds to be able to do it. Cities don't. And Caltrans, of course, have changed the freeway signs, and that comes to almost $100,000. So if you'd like to make this vision a reality, you may do so by visiting www.gunnyavenue, GUNNYAVE.com. Or see one of us afterwards. You know, got extra $100,000 in your pocket and you want to donate it. You know, we have people just come up here to one of the speakers and make sure they give it to the treasurer. The money goes to the Palmdale Community Foundation, which is a tax exempt, so we can write a 501c3 check to support this effort. Before we dismiss, the family is going to lead us in a procession down Lee Ermey Avenue. So everyone will remain here until the family's in their car, and they're going to lead us east
to Sierra Highway, south to Avenue O, and north to 10th Street. Any questions? Well, that's kind of special. That's kind of special. I think Chuck is here, so he's going to go to the left side with Betty, and we will show you what the county gave to us as the first step to this. Uh-oh. That's special, isn't it? And that's through the efforts of Supervisor Barker. She's been a godsend. She couldn't be here today because of all the things that have to be done in the Southern Army. And since the Commandant took part of my speech, where I was going to say, some people spend a lifetime wondering if they made a difference, I think we proved today that Gunny Lee Ermey made a difference. He has made a difference in his community. He's made a difference in the Marine world. He's gone overseas to visit troops. He was a true patriot and part of our community. For that, we want to keep that legacy going. So, elect Steve Hoffbauer, Betty, she's prettier than I am, so if you would. People on both east, west, north, south. So notice the Marine Corps colors. Notice the Marine Corps logo on the side. That's special. So anyway, what I'd like to do is, for all the Marines in the crowd, veterans that want to participate, our brother Army soldiers, join me in one hoorah salute to Gunny. Can we do that? Okay, let's go. On three. 1, 2, 3. Excellent. Thank you. So, we're going to have the family depart, and we will proceed out of here. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for participating. And thank you for being part of this effort.